All right, we good. Hold on. First of all, let me change this thing. All right, boom. I think that's good enough. Or it could be like this, or this kind of seems a little more, into the spirit, into the feeling right here. So what's
Yeah.
going on? We got Bobby Cash back in here, y'all. Um, he over here doing mind blowing stuff. But go ahead. You could reintroduce yourself if you want to.
Well, my name is Bobby Cash, and basically, you both seen me on, well, not you both, where you all have seen me on the Big Facts podcast. I started out with Ayo. When I actually started out, I actually spoke on there because Bobby Bumani had liked some things I've said before. So I had restarted another podcast called M.U.D Podcast, which is Mutual United Discussion, where we're going to bring black and white people on so they can ask questions to each other, since the main problem today is misunderstanding. So what's the use of having misunderstanding when you can have a gumbo pot to talk in and then get off your chest what you need to and see where things go? And it's especially for black people who follow a code of things that's getting them hurt in society. First off, they need to understand what being black and African American is, besides being attached to slavery. And I don't think some people grasp what the concept of that thing is. So what I'm going to do is let people ask questions and give studies based on people who have studied you and your elders since before you even knew any of this existed, like psychologists actually, information and things I've talked to Grump about, and things he researched as he talked to me as well. So I'm not just going to be feeding you BS. I'm not just going to be telling you things I think are possible. I'm going to be telling you experiences and things I've actually studied for years before I even spoke on
Crap, my bad, my finger slipped. Okay, so boom, I'm glad you talk about that. I had watched the interview. It was by the Under Soft Belly, and he was interviewing the head leader of the KKK, and he was like, talking about how his views is. Can you tell people about your experience talking to somebody who was in that realm?
it. Oh well, that so back in the '90s when I was like little or whatever, my mom had knew these people. A woman named Sonia, a husband named Craig. They had about like 8 children. Well, her father was like one of the grand wizards or one of the knights of the KKK. So my mom used to talk to this guy who would be like a little rambunctious and angry, and they would fight sometimes. So one time things got a little bit out of hand, so they helped my mom out. So from there far out, we would start going to her father's house and stuff like that. Well, long story short, this is the first time somebody ever told me I wasn't a nigga, because I was like, you know what I'm saying, whatever they considered black. He didn't call it black. He actually said the word indigenous because he don't do the color shit either. He said a nigga to him can be anybody, black, white, purple, green, and he really meant that. Like, this man felt comfortable with me in his home. He didn't look at me twice. He didn't have no sideways look. Like, I was playing in his yard, and this man started talking to me just to get to know who I was. So I asked this man, could I go to the bathroom in his house? And he just told me where it was at and told myself to feel free if I wanted something to drink while I was in there. So as soon as I walk in the door, like, I've seen firsthand the purple suit, the red suit, and the white suit that has like blood drop on it. So when people tell me that all this stuff based on racism is systematic, yeah, it is built like that. But on an undertake, you might want to get to know some of these people, not all, but you might want to get to know some of these people, because technically some of these people aren't how you think they are, and at the end of the day, they do know where the word nigga comes from. So if you want to make a bridge to connect in your racism, you might want to give the creator back their word and try to get an understanding of a language you don't understand, with word concepts you don't fully grasp. You just want to justify and take back.
Yep, exactly. It's crazy how one of them got their beliefs. Like that one person on Underbelly, he was talking about he's not a bigot. He just said that we should be, like how the Indians got their own space. He'd be like, he believes in
Yeah,
separation. He don't believe in like his race being the top. He's like everybody equal, but
yeah.
he believes separation. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like one, like most of those, when they become to the, like when it comes to the Bible, they don't believe in the whole slavery and that part. They just believe in each nation was made for a reason. It's not like if you choose to breed out that there's something wrong. It's just like if you choose to breed out, you're going against something that's in their God standard, because they have a whole different eye on Christianity, which is the American religion way. So if your religion or spirituality based on your nationality tells you you can, it's not going to seem good to them. It's going to seem foreign. Most people get it mixed up. They think American religion is based off religion for everybody when it's basically based off a concept for Europeans or what's considered white today, because everything that they do has the concept of like patriotism or racism or what we consider racism or things of that nature. It's not beliefs that will match yours.
Okay, so
And
I
they shouldn't.
go
They
ahead. I
shouldn't
can hear
because
you.
considering I'm sorry. And I forgot to say, and they shouldn't match yours considering you like technically not from here, and most of you are a mixed breed from here, not from here at the same time. If that's how you want to say not from here.
All right, so quick question. Did I'm about to pull this up real quick just to see if because I really want to know about this. I want to know if he kind of look like this guy right here. Let's see what's pulling up. Like
That suit look just like that.
okay. I just want to make sure. All right, cool. I see what you're coming at. So I got a question. Why do you think our people is triggered by certain things you say about how you know when it comes to the N word, when it comes to being black, and why like when you say that, like what do you think is like, is it like NLP or is it like some type of spell or something in their mind, conscious?
Technically, it's a character that was created and given to those who didn't have their identities. Remember, I told you the creation of the black person, right? And how psychologists study us, and they know that we have like over 400 million styles. Matter of fact, it was psychologist E. Robinson who said there are four Aboriginal American groups and are increasingly distinct separately by demography, geographic, and psychologically, and leading separate lives. Often, the only time the divergent Aboriginals of America unite is in the time of public lives, blatant and racial predicaments. So it's like they even know that you're not something called black. They know that it is a stature, like a statue that was created over time. It separates you from knowing who is still in the mind of a slave and who can be controlled. And it's not technically considered slave money. It's considered American made. It's American owned. Anything that America controls is basically a product. And then there's this thing called in 1705, there was in Virginia, there was called this General Assembly. And they had this thing on there also that said anything that was not Christian, even in their own foreign land, when they come to America or imported to America again, will be considered property of the United States. And I don't know when that has changed. I don't even know if that has ever changed. It's in 1705, the Assembly of the Generals. And before I even go any further, I'll let you look that up and read it yourself.
1705 Assembly of.
Of Generals in Virginia.
One
This is
second.
when pre-colonial meets post-colonial.
Oh, my bad. Give me 1 second. I can't hear you. Say it again.
This is when pre-colonial meets post-colonial.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up right now. I think this is it right here. Okay, so it says the Virginia. Let me go ahead and zoom it in one notch. Come on, another notch. I think. Oh shit. I think that's good enough. All right, so it says the Virginia. Oh fuck. Virginia Slave Act, right? This is what it is prior
Yeah,
to. Okay, so prior to
yeah.
my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You right.
I'll read it real quick. The top. Prior to 1705, there were many African American indentured servants in the state of Virginia for a set of number of years. A person will work without pay and then be freed from his bond once the allotted time has passed. In the year 1705, the Virginia General Assembly passed a law which transformed black indentured servants into slaves. The Virginia Slave Act of 1705 condemned many men, women, and children to a lifetime of slavery, even if they were only days away from being freed of their indentured status. All right, so kind of explain it in your way so I kind of get better understanding.
So basically, what that means is anybody who was not considered Christian, or if you're not part of the American way, you would be still considered a slave, which they turn into the word citizen, which means an employee of the state. So being a citizen and being an American are two different things. I want you to look this up while we're talking. Look up U.S. versus USA.
Okay, 1 second. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. U.S. versus USA.
But
You can see what pops up on Google. All right, it's American and Canadian English. U.S. with periods is the dominant abbreviation for United States. Do not use USA or USA except in a quotation as a part of proper name. Team USA as these abbreviations are also used in the United States Army and other names. Hold on, I think that's just basic stuff. Hold on, hold on. United States Army and United States of America. That's what you're trying to get at?
No, the U.S. versus USA means people who are considered citizens are part of the U.S. U.S. Americans are people who have rights to the Constitution and things of that nature.
Okay. So this singular form became popular after the end of Civil War and is now standard usage in the U.S. A citizen
There
of the
you
United,
go.
yeah, a citizen of the United States is American. Let me see. I click on some more. Uh, damn, this one my dyslexia kicks in.
Sorry
Uh,
about that. I ain't mean to
my,
have a lot to read.
I wish I could damn do it. What you call that shit? My bad if I can't pronounce these words right. I got my retainers in
You
my
good?
little smile direct things. Hold on, let me see, find something. So it was Civil War. Civil War. All right, it says American led to its abolished Civil War. You see after Civil War. 1 second, y'all. If I can't find like that, I'm gonna have to just let you
See,
keep.
you didn't even have to go there to look for it. You could have looked somewhere else. There's a guy named Jordan Maxwell that talks about it in one of his, I think it was his YouTube shows.
You said George who?
Jordan Maxwell.
Or oh, is that the guy who made that book Blink?
I think so. I haven't read his books yet.
No, that's Malcolm Gladwell. I got his book right there. All right, Jordan Maxwell and what?
And on a YouTube video, it'll look like a picture of the United States. I think it's the two laws, maritime and land sea law. It's the two main laws that govern every law. Jordan Maxwell, the two laws. Hold on, I can look it up on here if my laptop's not messing up.
Okay,
I
so
don't
I
know if
see the two laws talking about the two main laws that the world lives by. That's what you trying to say?
yeah, and then within that speech, he's talked to bankers and people of political status who gave him the definition, the actual terms. If people were to listen to that, they will understand literally how everything works. He'll even tell you when you go to a car lot and you buy something, like you buy a car, you're not paying for the car, you're paying for the piece of paper on the car. So things don't work how people think they technically work. It's a whole different ball game. Like you can even look up your birth certificate number or get your birth certificate and look up the numbers on it, and you're a human stock. You're on a human stock exchange. That's like called your net worth. Like everybody has one.
Okay, I get you saying. So can you like summarize? I'm gonna put this on my watch later list. Can you summarize what he's explaining, like good points of this video right here? If you able to?
Uh, Basically the main points will tell you how the two laws work. And I don't want to spoil it for people. I would rather them listen because what I can tell you, I'd rather him tell you from his mouth because he sit around the actual people. But it's Jordan Maxwell, the two laws that govern all laws.
So this guy right here.
Yeah. That ain't the video. One of the video would be like it'll show all of the United States, but it's like covered in money.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm about to say I can't really. Oh, United States two
It's
laws.
on YouTube. I have it saved on my YouTube, but I couldn't tell you how to go exactly to it unless you was on his page. I feel like you about to run into it.
You probably got to send me like a link or something to it.
Probably.
This
Keep
guy right
keep
here.
going
What's he
down.
about? You know what I'm saying?
He's good. He sit with the actual people behind the scenes and like talk with them and stuff like that. He has actual knowledge. Like he has African knowledge that most black people wouldn't get their hands on, like Anunnakis and stuff of that nature. He has the knowledge on Jesus. He has the knowledge on like who you should study in life. He has the knowledge on symbolism. And like he's certified in everything he do. He's not just like no wacko. He's the same as William Cooper, the one who made the book about Behold the Pale Horse. That's a good book you should read as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Or
I
people should read.
see. I had in my wish list. I definitely need to go ahead and read it because that guy they set him up though. They really set that book.
Yeah,
That book I know you talking about. Behold the Pale Horse. That was powerful. I heard.
go to
And
the YouTube on your list.
what happened?
I'm sorry, I was talking to somebody. I was talking to my wife.
Okay, so um, can you explain uh like how these people, like, for instance, we're going back to, like, Hitler times, right?
Yeah.
How did he became so powerful, like, in your opinion? Like, what was, I know he read books from philosophers and all that, but I want your opinion on it.
Talking about how Hitler became popular.
Yeah,
Basically, the whole story behind Hitler is like he was a man who was considered to have got out of jail one day, and he was ranting and raving inside of like a bar or something like that, and somebody of some power heard him. So basically, what they did was sit in the background and kept watching and see how strong his influence would be. And then from there, he just blew up. People would like ask him questions on how his looks would be, on political statuses, and then from there, he would conform his figure. There was a small thing that he said or something about Negroes being the true Jews and Israelites. That's why Hebrew Israelites act the way they do about, you know what I'm saying, Jewish people and the Holocaust and stuff like that. But as in going deep about Hitler, basically, God went down the rabbit hole of like when he was supposed to be dead, his two main generals was not of this world, and they got most of their technology from extraterrestrial people and stuff of that nature. So I didn't actually read his hardcore facts on like his physical life terms. I read like his mentality and stuff of that nature.
yeah, because there was just one girl. They said they don't even know how old she was, but her name was Maria something. It has something to do with the ships that they created.
Yeah,
And I keep telling people that Chanel been real close to Hitler, the girl who created Chanel. But that's a
yeah.
different.
I mean, most people won't believe you when you tell them who made things because it wouldn't sound real. Like, hold on, I'm about to pull up something that I was talking to you about the other day, and I'm gonna just read it off. That the methods of acting black. Remember, I told you I had the information on that, and I read a little bit off of you how they made that, like how the
Yeah.
government made that. It was
Hmm.
like their methods for recognizing a set of behaviors that constituted acting black. Hear the word constituted, acting black and acting white. Furthermore, how a person acted or performed could determine their racial status and the benefits and or punishment that came along with racial classification. The performative aspects of the racial ascription continues today, despite the contemporary claims that there is no such thing as acting white. Racism is much more than an ideology. It requires powers that turn ideology belief into a structural reality. Walter Johnson's work will show you under U.S. American slavery, you ascribe race determined with the difference between enslavement and freedom. So if you still considering yourself black under what they made the word black considered under a legal term, you are not a free person still. You are colored.
Mm.
You don't have a culture. You don't have a race. You don't have a nationality. That's not real, and it's not to diss people who claim black. I'm not saying that. What I suggest that people should do is claim West African, since that's what the slave trade is basically pointing you to. It doesn't matter what tribe you pick from. Pick one of the tribes, learn the nationality to the T, and present yourself as an honorable people. It doesn't matter what side. That one umbrella will be considered West African, so that could be on your ID. Under that ID, you will have your tribe that you come from, but the codes you would talk from because you would know each other language would consider you black. It was you would still have your slang, you would still have your, but you would be under umbrella. That's why like people who are in this country who have aid and who have power, and you wonder why their communities are well. That's why they're actual nationality. They have the Jewish community, they have the Italian community, they have the Dominican community, they have all type of communities, but they don't have a community for people of actually African descent over here, so they label you African American to make profit off everything you do. It's still the same exploitation. That's the same problem that's going on today, but people don't understand how they get away with it. Well, if you exploit it and do it the right way and turn it into a government foundation and claim that you're helping the people, you can get away with whatever you want to.
And Sierra said, "What if my family was indigenous?"
I mean, if you're the first, like, okay, what people don't know is those who are considered black in America lead every person who look like you. So if you're like considered first creation or first DNA or whatever they call us of being most spiritual beings, you are indigenous to this planet. You should be able to pick whatever race you want to come from. That should be the technical term of how it goes, because that's what they keep telling you. Oh, you're enslaved people from part of the first creation, this and that, or you're enslaved people who are chosen. Well, pick side of the story and let people stick to it. You either want to tell them they were oppressed or enslaved and they got a few more years to keep fighting, or you want to keep telling them that they're from a good people and all they got to do is understand their culture and move in a solid form. But when they move in a solid form, you're going to give them chances like Wall Street again. Well, I'm gonna have to tell people you was only considered 3/4 as a person. If I'm not getting it wrong with that 75%, you still have a 25% to go, and this is the part that your elders left you to. It's the intellectual part now. They put all the blood, sweat, and tears into it. Now it's time for you to be intellectuals and learn off the past.
So if you had came across a brother who was 18 years old, how would you steer them in the right direction to get ahead and help their people?
Give me an example. Like, say I'll take a little homie that's in the game. Basically, if he was
Yeah.
really good in school and he had the grades, but he was real street with it and he could lead people, I would basically show him what he was actually built for. I'd be like, you might want to take this and ask your family where you come from, see what type of tribe, and then ask your homies to follow you in a way that you can show them their potential. Like I got a homie on the West Coast who a Crip, and I told him he should show all the homies out there how their tribes. And I said, what y'all should do with the police who getting fired for exposing the truth, since they got the actual training, why don't you turn them into a street league and train them in the small armies? They got the training for it. They get all these brothers and sisters fired from these police forces and stuff like that. They got the training. Turn these little knuckleheads and gang members into little soldiers. Make their asses get up in the morning instead of standing on the block. Run the block. Let's get 5 laps in. If you run across the homie you don't like, y'all need to show each other love, despite how you feel about each other. If we need to set up a boxing match, we'll set up a boxing match. Throw your hands and keep going about your business. But you got a bigger picture. You always want to talk about leaving something for the children. You're not going to be able to do it because they're not giving you a handout. That shit's not happening.
So I'm trying to figure out. You're right. Exercise and being in shape and being trained was the number one thing with um, gangs that was created within our community to protect ourselves from the police. And it's crazy. I don't
Right.
see from my personal experience and from my observation, I don't see no gangs that are like doing training like that. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
They might have some people who might promote that, but it's not as large as it should be. If they put it on a big scale to where if the big homies was like the little homies you get out of line, we gonna offer you up for a free 101 because you crossed the line, so we need to keep peace. I think things would get a little bit more strict out here.
Can you read what Sierra said right there?
I don't believe we all came here through a middle passage. We all didn't come here through a middle passage. Most people say that the natives sold us first. So if the natives sold us first, matter of fact, let me go to that. I figured people would start asking those questions.
And why do people? Not many
Or
people know
Negro. Most
that.
people don't like being,
You said Negro. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, that's the word right there.
but people say the natives were selling us first. Well, late 15th to early 17th century, natives were the first to sell us enslaved captives to conquistadors. But if they were selling us, we was already a part of them. So instead of selling people in the way that they used to exchange things from the Europeans before they met the colonists, they would exchange people and replace them as warriors. So how can you automatically say, well, no, those are automatically Africans? Well, where were your boats at, and where are the stories of you saying you was going to get them on boats and stuff like that? I haven't ran into anything like that yet. What I can tell you is that you had dark people within you, and then when you met them and they was introducing their ideology, which the 16th century Expedition Inquisition explains, you found colorism through them, and the fair skin started giving up. That's where the five civilized come from. That's why in Cherokee, North Carolina, the blood quantum law just has vanished. And even people of our tone, like the bronze tone, get run for chief counsel and stuff like that again because people was about to sue them for lying and saying, even though you look like your own tribal members, you can't classify as tribe. Well, they turned that around real quickly.
And did you on this book I had read called "The Destruction of Black Civilization"? It's on my shelf, but they said the Arabs was the most successful with us, though.
And that's true. But if every this is one question I ask everybody. If they say everybody came from Africa and then branched out, that means that at the end of the day, these Arabs are African as well. There's no such thing as the Middle East. All that is Africa. No matter if they came from somewhere else or not, they're still considered black. If your skin, that means you come from Africa as well. So all these man-made labels, people not, need to understand the alchemy of people's words, the definition in their languages, So when you start thinking in different terms and seeing people, you can understand what's really going on. It's not that anybody's stupid. It's just that in school they don't teach you the indoctrination you're under. They teach you the education that comes with it, but they don't teach you the whole indoctrination, like the laws, the words that come with it, how they give you the end of the definition, not give you the exact definition like the Encyclopedia Britannica. They don't give you the actual definition of words in there. So when you get in trouble with the law and you say shit like I was driving instead of other things and stuff like that, they're gonna look at you like, well, you're breaking the law. That's a man-made thing. That definition don't suit to what we learn in school. So your ass is going away. And in court, people don't understand. Those are people who say that I'm a citizen when they on the stand, and their asses end up going to jail. If your ass was to say no, I ask you on the stand. Like I don't know if you ever been to court or if anybody's ever been to court or not. But when you go to court, they'll ask you on the stand, are you a U.S. citizen? That's a trick question, to be honest with you, because if you're a U.S. citizen, you don't have any rights under the Constitution. So basically, your ass going to jail regardless. But if you say, no, I'm a U.S. American, and you start speaking to them how you want to be spoken to, but have the correct language like a lawyer would, you know what I'm saying, you can get yourself somewhere.
So yeah, that's facts right there. And they people in the comments talking about the $5 Indians. We done heard about that, and one person asked where did the word indigenous came from.
The word indigenous, the word Indie means black. Digitus, that's another word just for like hue or something like that. All these colors have the American tongue is either two words from two actual languages put together, or two words from one language put together. So we speak bilingual. What's considered black in America actually speaks two languages. Our Ebonics is actually a language. It's closer and closer to the language we actually speak, and then we speak the secondhand British language, which is considered American tongue. So we're actually fluid in two different languages.
Well, I got a question, brother, real quick. This might be out of field, but what is this with Kodak Black right here? This is album, and it says Bill Israel, and the brothers. Can you explain that to people and to me, please?
Basically, I would have to listen to what the album was about. I don't want to give you based off the symbolism I can see, but I would like we can come back and do that some other time. But right now, I would have to listen to what he's talking about at first because people said Kodak has been switched out because he looks different. So I would actually have to look more into that. I keep an eye on how they do things like that, but I don't keep an eye on how they specifically do each person.
Yeah, and you want to. So that case, you want to get into with Kevin Gates or people
You
in the
do that
comments.
one because I don't want people to think I'm arrogant sounding. I don't even.
Yeah, Kevin Gates is on like his. What y'all think about Kevin Gates in the comments, y'all? That's what I want to know before we even get into it. Yeah, he said the brothers of Israel, like the kids of Israelite. I think it's in his album. Damn, I was thinking about Kodak being the clone. Everybody be thinking. I mean, don't get Ty started with that. Please don't get Ty started with that, Sierra. Ty got a whole damn list of this shit right here. Ty like, oh, Beyonce and Taylor Swift are the same people. And I'm like, man, I don't know what to believe now. I don't know what the hell to believe, honestly. So
Hey,
nobody.
I'm gonna send you this link to this thing I was telling you about the Jordan Maxwell two laws. You don't gotta play it right now. I'm just letting you know because you asked me to send it to you.
Yeah, yeah. Just you can put it in a private chat. You put it in the comments. No matter how you do it, on StreamYard if you want, if you can.
Hold on, I'm gonna just send it
Oh, a
to you
lot of
right
chips expose you. A lot of chips said Ty be watching Conscious X. Kevin Gates just wants to belong somewhere. Oh, I
now.
always say that, Sierra. I mean, Sierra, like Kevin Gates, that dude, he just peaked. If you want to know what I think about Kevin Gates, is like I know what he's doing, So he'll talk, and then for like a brief second, he'll peep his head out of the damn world globe. He'll look around and he'll say
Yeah,
something that's like intellectual as fuck, and then he'll come right back down to the normal frequency. You know what I'm saying? And he be
yeah.
doing that. That's his
I'm
only
gonna
way
put a link under that
communicating.
comment.
You keep the comments.
No, I'm sorry, I was talking to my wife. But nah, most people think Gates be bugging when he be like, I'm out my body on some other shit. Like Gates, the reason why he wear the feather in his head, like down there, they really know that they natives and stuff like that. Most Seminoles and stuff like transferred from up here to down there. Most natives from North Carolina were shipped from North Carolina to Louisiana and some to Virginia. So most people don't know when they say like natives were shipped off. Most of them shipments were just to Virginia and Louisiana, but to some other natives. Most of the natives down there couldn't be contained. That's why the name Seminole actually means savage, and most people don't know that. And the tribes that were chopped off and they're not heard of anymore, those were the tribes who was like Blackfoot, who you could tell who had like darker hues and mid brown hues and stuff of that nature. Black people in America are nothing but all the people who are like mixed tone or made from two or more races kicked out of the actual race. Because all races are becoming segregated. You have Afro this and white that. That's just segregating and like taking over cultures. And all they're doing is giving all the fair skinned part of the races the resources while they put anybody who consider themselves black in what they consider black in a low level place.
Facts. Let me go in these comments real quick. My bad, brother. They just be
Did you
talking
find out how to
cash
follow?
Grump. I know it's some heat coming. Ayo, where you
Hmm.
at? Ayo probably
Hey,
busy. You know,
that
Ayo busy.
somebody posted that link under there. I ain't mean to cut you off. Somebody posted that link in there.
They posted a link where?
I think they posted in your comment section. I had my wife do it from the YouTube. Like I just had pulled up YouTube and found the video I was looking for. I don't know if it hit yet though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I don't even see it. Like, hold on. I might be new comments. You know, I got dyslexia. Hold on. I believe they would test.
Dang, what's that?
Yeah, let me start that little crazy joke I be doing. No, I don't see it though.
Oh, bet. Probably I'll send it to you the best way possible. I don't even want to click off here because I think my phone will mess up. You know, I've been having a problem with the streaming. So I've been trying to get it right.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You right about that,
We'll do
Kevin.
that on another show.
Yeah, we'll do. Because I remember there was another video of him with his daughter. I got it, and his daughter said that she did magic or something, and I was just tripping off of that. You know.
Why you say that? Did you listen to that sit down?
No, my brother. I was trying to. I thought it was stay. I typed in Kevin Gates stay, and I was like, 3 hours ago I did it, and I was like, and it was like stay high, and I was like, damn, I forgot what it was. Now home. Say it again. It was called sit down, so I could save it to
Yeah,
my
it's called
watch
sit
this.
down.
Sit down.
It's the whole first verse where he was talking about, and the like the hook has it in there as well. But it's the whole first verse to tell you how to do the ritual with the philosopher's stone and all that suit and tie and stuff of that nature.
For the people who don't know what he's talking about, whenever y'all get spare time, go ahead and listen to this. Engage. It's called sit down. That's what he's talking about right here. Have y'all ever hear the song by Gates? Exactly. Powerful. All right, back to you. As it said, Justin Bieber is Weekend. Oh my gosh, Ty, you started Will Smith is Tyler Perry. Oh, you going in now, y'all. Why would they test on peeps that are highly visible first? Makes no sense in my honest opinion. Why would they test on peeps that are highly visible? That's what we talk about. Oh, they've been cloned since BCE. Okay. And it's like, oh, okay, I see where your head at. It's like Ty fucked up in the head. God damn. Because it's so obvious. It's unbelievable. But these people going on the comments. It's so obvious. It's unbelievable. Celebrities are
I
wearing
mean,
masks. It's not obvious.
people don't need to overthink it, but they need to understand that being conquered never mean that you was free to be conquered. It means you still have to speak somebody's language. If you don't believe how they believe, you can get to some shit. If you were to step out of line too far to where it make a big influence, it could change something for them. You could start a war. Like nothing's changed. You're still at war, but the part is it's intellectual now.
So, what do you think about people who are Masonic when they were like their knowledge and stuff? Can you explain that and like how people be thinking Masons are evil or what's the origins about behind that?
Well, technically, it's not what you would consider evil. It's basically on who uses it and why they use it and the energy behind their spirit that uses it for them as well. So most people can sign up to be Masons, but at the end of the day, if you want to go to certain lengths or follow the crowd or where you see all the luxury at, you're gonna have to follow some rules. If you just studying to get the knowledge and like become a carpenter or a brick baser while you're doing it, you will understand the purpose of meaning and stuff like it. Of like God was a carpenter at the end of the day, no matter what form or name you say him in. So you'll be doing things in the grace of that. You will understand the meaning of those words back then, and you will understand the texture of. You will understand like you'll get the whole nine out of it. Because while you're doing it, you're going to be feeling great because you have knowledge behind what you're doing.
That's true. So, why every time, like 9 out of 10, when I talk to people about voodoo and black magic, they automatically think it's evil and they think it's like the witch doctor. They think negative about it. Is that propaganda, or is that just not them having knowledge on it?
That's both. I could call it social engineering and vindictive programming as well, because most people would think that possession is how you see it in a movie. That's just high level. Possession could be somebody that you know who's never had nothing and start to get things and whatever around it that's material is possessing them as well to act different. Everybody must understand things around you are made out of energies. So if energy can change somebody, that's a bad possession, or that possession made that person not know how to act. That's where those phrases come from. So if somebody wants to know what possession is, get around somebody who's never had it but doesn't have good intentions before they even get it. You will see a whole different change in that person. You'd be like, that car got you. You done turned into a whole nother person. You possess that vehicle. Possession is possession. The term doesn't change no matter how you use it or the spelling.
So I've been on that podcast where he been interviewing people who were like traumatized, and I've been looking at this interview with a couple of prostitutes and escorts, and they said due to their past traumas as a child, it's like they have two alternatives. Like it's like they get possessed. It's like they know how to turn that switch on and off. Can you explain that?
That's like the flesh and the spirit. Most people don't know the reason why they struggle daily, but they read it in the Bible. Be like the Lord said we should separate first from spirit and flesh from spirit in order to see where we're going and to gain balance. Well, a lot of people want to indulge in things of the flesh, which are things of the earth, which are worldly things. God never said that you couldn't enjoy them, but He never said get don't become of the world or the flesh. Nowadays, most people are attached to their flesh. They don't know what the spirit is no more, which is built on meaning, loyalty, and things of that nature. So if you don't have true meaning, you're not going to find yourself again, because the things of true meaning are who you are, but you don't like who you are because it's not going to get you to where your flesh can get you. So it's a game you playing with yourself. Nobody's in competition with you. It's just a bunch of flesh running around trying to out ego each other and outlive each other when it's none of it's going to live. It's only that spirit who has to deal with what's coming at the end of that.
And can you explain visual intelligence? Because you've been reading a book about that. Can you explain that to people right
Oh,
here?
I'm glad you said that. Here you go, right here.
That's what's up. Visual
Like,
intelligence. Ah, I can't even pronounce words right. God dang.
but nah, visual intelligence is just a book that it's fun, to be honest with you. It's just a woman who has an intuitive vision as well. So her intuitive vision since she was young was sharp as well. So but her parents then since they was well off would send her to schools then like make it more sharp and keen to make it seem like she has some like psychic abilities or to enhance the abilities that could be considered psychic. So what she does with through the book is give you paintings to look at. And then while you're looking at the painting on one page after you've read the page before, when you flip to the next page while she's talking to you and you're reading, she'll ask you what was on the page before, like in the painting. It'll be like a fine detail. And then she'll even tell you if you have to go back and look, go back and look. I need you to get it right, not get it wrong. So it's basically like somebody of this nature, like we are now, but they're doing it in book form. And they're just sitting around there to help you 1 on 1 because you're reading it firsthand, you're learning it firsthand, and as you're sitting there, look around, you can do things differently firsthand. You can apply that wisdom yourself and learn it by yourself. That's called intelligence. And education is the only ability to repeat information and regurgitate it. Intelligence is you sitting down and learning something that you're good at, gifted at, and learning to profit off its wisdom however you choose.
Okay, so like, dang, I lost my train of thought with that. What you explained it with visual intelligence is like patterns. Like with chess. So it's like, can that go in alignment with patterns when you see something and you just make an assumption because from your past or from somebody's experience, you know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it depends on how detailed it is. I wouldn't put like things like people bringing past relationship issues and the stuff like that. I've had issues with that as well, traumatizations. So it's like it's better to be aware, but don't put those characteristics on the person. They could be similar, but that person just probably aware enough to where they need somebody else around there to tell them shit. You might as well need to be told because something might not be going on. It could just be something slightly the same, and you could be considering fully a concept of what you experienced before. So you
Can you,
shouldn't do that.
yeah.
You should actually sit and observe and see what the energy is like. If the energy is not the same, then you should be able to speak up and communicate with that person because there's no static there.
So, what about the characteristics of somebody? How people despise the flesh of another person instead of despising the characteristic that they obtain. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's I would say that would be like a left brain type of ordeal in the frontal lobe. I'm not gonna act like I'm too inclined on that. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't finish my degree in psychology, but I'm well holistic in it. I just like it for fun. But the point in that is somebody's ego. Ego is a thing of the flesh. That's an emotion that's built over the body that makes it react. Now your spirit is how you feel afterwards when you reflect on the emotion because you didn't control your body's reaction. So if a person learns to check that and just be like, when they feel like that, be like, why am I feeling like this about this person? Why do I actually feel like that? And then they actually think in a higher sense of themselves, like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm doing things of a nature. Why should I even be doing this? Period. You have to learn how to put yourself in check and realize what's going on before you actually want to write off somebody else.
Yeah, we got a brother up in here who kind of knows something too. Correct, some prophets were from Africa. I believe some was from Greece. He meant to say, and he's speaking about. It says, anyways, have you heard the podcast stuff? They want you to know if you haven't checked the podcast with the title "Lost Races of Man." It covers the verified races in R, or at least some R genomes. Genomes. I remember seeing that word genomes
So he
before.
talking probably like RH blood types and grays and stuff like that. That's real as well.
Oh,
Because black people are actually a whole nother race of people. They're actually oceanic. Right now, I want you to put in where do black people come from, and I'm gonna just sit here while you read it. I bet you $10 it's gonna say a descendants from oceanic or sub-Saharan Africa.
okay. So I didn't look at it yet. I just had typed in on Google. So we're gonna see what pops up. Oh, I meant to do all black people is a racialized classification of people, usually political and skin color based category for
Click on
specific
that.
populations. This one, Wikipedia.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
the first one.
All right. Black was a racialized classification of people, usually a political and skin color based category for specific populations with a mid to dark brown complexion. Not all people considered black have dark skin. In certain countries, often in socially based systems of racial classification in the Western world, the term black is used to describe persons who are perceived as dark skinned compared to other populations. It is mostly used for people of I can't pronounce the word, Saharan African descent,
Sub-Saharan.
sub-Saharan African descent, and the indigenous peoples of Oceania,
Yeah.
and
So we're
indigenous.
indigenous. Either way it goes.
Yeah. So go ahead, keep going. You said we're.
No,
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry. Go ahead. I was just making that point out to that person who asked that question.
okay. Indigenous African societies do not use the term black as a racial identity outside of influences brought by Western cultures. Okay. The term black may or may not be capitalized. The AP style book changed its guide to capitalize the B in black in 2020. The ASA style guide says that B should not be capitalized.
Okay, now hold on for a second before you start reading. Now, do people need to understand the alchemy of words? This is why they don't teach you actual words in school. This is what they're doing to you. Under Western European indoctrination, all these words they're giving you, they're tying you in so you can't get out of the matrix that you want to see so far out of. Colorism was something that was invented with the government standard in order to exploit you. If we take your identity and put you as a color, you're nothing but a stock. That's why black people are worth 1.5 billion. Black is a business. It's not a person unless you can actually claim your oceanic or sub-Saharan descendants or identity, period.
So they pretty much making us believe that we're categorized in this system that they created, like we're black, but we really like further down. This is a systemized thing. You saying?
Yes, in their eyes, this is the this is the hierarchy and archy of Western European indoctrination. Period.
And what's the words I could look up on English? Like with the language, when you saying that they don't teach you words, like how can you show me an example of how they don't teach us words? Like something to like look up or like an example.
Just like when you use the words driving, if anybody's ever noticed when you've got your license before, when you sign on that paper at the bottom in the right hand corner before you sign off, it says, do you know you're giving up free rights to travel anything with a wheel carriage or four wheels freely about the roadways? And most people don't understand what that means, so they go ahead and check off and get a driver's license. To drive is a term that was made up under indoctrination of the government, so somebody's controlling that word.
And where's is that a website or like? So I type in Western
No, there's a
indoctrination.
book. There's a law book about this. There's a true law book. Type in driving versus traveling law book. These books cost like $1,000 just to get your hands on.
This is what popped up so far. Top secret. Why? See, that's crazy. That's typing driving versus law book, and this is the first thing that popped up. Top secret, and this is like military terms. Remember when it was like clearance, secret, top secret,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like
Man,
these.
y'all can go to the Library of Congress and look at these books. Like they're law books on what driving means and stuff like that. All this information is available. You just don't want to go hang out at the spots you need to. In order for people to get what they want out of here who are considered black, you're gonna have to play the ball game right now, which is intellect. And you know that you're kings and queens. I'm not trying to diss when I say that, but you're gonna have to put the work in like they did. They were some mentalists. They created math, science, and all that shit. These are people who globe the earth without leaving the earth. So I don't grasp how people be like, we built pyramids and stuff like that. You got to understand the concept. They built calendars. These are people who didn't leave the earth, but had a concept of every other place that was already on this earth.
Do you have an understanding on what pyramids represent or the energy or something?
Yeah, like they aligned it perfectly so it equate with the energy that comes, rains and stuff like that. But on top of that, they already knew that there was other places on this like it's a globe in a flat earth. We'll get into that in a second. But they already knew there was other places on this planet without having to look at it from space. That's what I'm saying.
That's facts right there. Dang, that's crazy. That's intelligence right there. I mean, like the engineering and they had like technology. It was like back then. I remember I was researching like something in the vase that was like a battery charge that they had during the ancient African times that they used. It was like vinegar or something in there, and they used like it was like energy. It was like a battery type electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Most
tight.
people don't get the story actually either. This whole story is built around one notion of people, the elders who got help. You're beings. Most people forget the being part that comes after human. You're just the flesh right now. Most people they don't believe that there's a higher beings that created us and stuff like that. Yeah, there is. You're just stuck believing Jesus was the one who created you when that was invented by the Night Templar and it's Yahweh Yahshua who actually invented you. Also on top of that, people talk about you all day and how you actually got the name written in your DNA. So I don't get what the holdup is on people, you know what I'm saying, getting together. If you let these things of the flesh go, what'll separate you, or if you let those niggas have it, because you got to separate yourself from them. I don't mean to diss nobody who claims to be a nigga or say I claim nigga or black because I don't know myself. Where they tell you who you are all the time. You slaves from West Africa. You slaves from West Africa. Well, let me be considered West African in America. I don't need to be an African American because there's no such thing. I wasn't born in both places. Either I'm American or I'm African. It's one of the two, and the story is based off us anyway. So at the end of the day, I'm just a being who came with this planet. So why do I even got to be considered what you want me to? And everybody say you're not what people say you are. So why are you black? Why are you colored? Why are you this? And because they tell you are, that's what somebody will tell you. That's what a nigga will tell you because that's what they say I am. Well, it's not real. So at the end of the day, you don't own how you think.
Yeah, you don't have your self awareness, like your consciousness, because there's so many labels and system is already it's like a prison within your mind if you allow it.
That's a fact. And I know people will be like, slavery is 400 years ago and we still hurting. But actually, if you know this, you need to look at the psychologists who helped these people shape you into that fashion, or you need to look at the slave owners who knew that this would be possible for it to pass down. You need to start learning this stuff. Your DNA will tell you a lot of stuff. I don't get how people are here knowing they're created from the first, like a natural being who created this planet, and think that this is it. Like you're gonna have to answer for everything that you slacking for down here. And I'm not saying I'm better than the next person. I'm far from that shit. But at the end of the day, if you want to be down here and you're meant to create and build, then why don't you have fun with it? If all of us was to quit creating and making TikToks and Facebook posts and stuff like that and just minded our business, the whole system will shut down. Everything will fluctuate, like fall. Everything will completely fall. Now we have to do is chill. We can make text messages so hype they'll have to make an app that video text messages just to see what we were doing. Like we
Okay,
have over
that's
400 million styles. I haven't even read that to people before. Like we have over 400 million styles, and they study you to know this. They've been studying you for years to know this.
so. Who were the psychologists that were behind engineering the American Industrial Revolution? I believe it was after World War II. You had Sigmund Freud, and you had the Nuremberg laws. I mean Nuremberg trials, and they pretty much
It wasn't
American.
even those people.
It was
You
before that.
gotta you gotta look at the people who was giving them the money to do it. Everybody need to follow the people who was giving the people the leeway to do this shit. If you want to find out who's really in control, look at the people who are letting all the people who were saying that this is this pseudoscience just because this scientists say this and we back them and pay them, it means it's true. If you find that person, it'll lead you to all the people who are really doing things. And it's going to be a deep research. It's not going to be like, well, I find NBC News. And no, you're going to have to find out who is the CEO at NBC, who they're getting from, who they know corporately, and who they hang with within circles who shouldn't be hanging with each other, like a celebrity and a politician. This person in London at the Queen's house. That type of stuff is what connects people to doing certain things. And when they get back in front of you and play their role as a person or whatever, because they go to school for psychology and they're just a celebrity now, you will understand their purpose and why they're doing what they're doing, or if they're lying to you or not.
Okay, I get you saying that's your type of research on how you explain it instead of like just
Yeah,
you know a quick Google and boom, you got to go within books and link stuff. It's like investigators, how they be putting them little tags and charts, right?
yeah. It's not easy. They didn't give it to you. That's why they always say the easiest way to hide something from a nigga is put it in a book. All the information you need to know is spread it out through books mixed in with lies. That's like if everybody was to sit down and read all religions and see what lines up that actually goes together that's positive and what's negative that doesn't go together, they'll actually let that shit go with beefing really, but they don't want to do that. That's why they read certain scriptures over and over and over again.
Okay, so check this out. Damn, give me 1 second. I just had a good thought on piggybacking off that. It's gonna come to me. Whew, shit, it's gonna come to me. But either way,
You got it.
reading though, that's one thing I knew was about reading a book, about putting pieces together, and how you saying that
Yeah.
everything's like hidden. So like, what about okay? It came to me. Why is it hard to learn the organs of social engineering and psychological analysis? You know what I'm saying? Like behavior rhythm by B.F. Skinner.
Why is it hard to learn it? Because people don't
Why
want to
is
take
it
the
hard to
time to
get like
learn.
information on it?
Hold on, say that again.
Why is it hard to like get information on it? It's like always kind of like pieces of it within books. It's not no. It's a reason behind it. Pretty much what I'm saying. Like shouts out to Don
Oh, why do
when
they
he made.
hide it from you?
Yeah, yeah, in that way.
Because it's part of the game. You're beings in a human form. Nobody said you was coming here to live it forever. Nobody said you was actually supposed to come here and be a part of the distraction. That was actually the opposite of the plan. But they're better at it. Like y'all said, it's been 400 years. Obviously, they keep running. They're running the scoreboard up on your asses, and they're not slowing up either because they know how the game goes. Like most of them already know where they're going because if you was able to live in somebody else's skin and know their spirit, they know that you're not the same creation. It's just the most gods are actually cool with each other on a whole nother level as creators and beings. Everybody's not born to play by the actual good side. You might have some people who are from the bad side who play for the good, and some who good who play for the bad. And then there's people like me who don't play neither side. I just play on the scale of God. Like positivity, mind your business, always discipline yourself before you want to discipline somebody else. Make sure you get something packed down before you try to pass it on to somebody else. As long as you keep yourself disciplined, you will always be in order. Be better than who you were yesterday. You're only in competition with yourself.
All right, before I read this comment, Marcus Garvey did said that the biggest weakness against us that they use against us is keeping us unorganized. Being unorganized is the easiest trick to make us not reach our full potential. But this comment, Bilderberg, Trilateral Community, Rothschild, run and create our whole reality. What you got to say about that?
That's true because if you look on a dollar or something right now, it says Rothschild or Rockefeller. I forget. I get those two confused when like which one does it say, Rothschild or Rockefeller on the front?
Hold on, where? Uh,
One of them it say Rothschild or Rockefeller. It has like the family name on it. One of those own the central like the national banking system, and like they
Novus.
got like they can actually walk in the bank and ask people to print money because they own it and they can just spend as much as they like, but they don't spend money. They have assets actually. They don't actually use money.
That's a different part of financial knowledge that we gotta know. Assets and labor. What about
They
man?
use money as a tool.
Yeah,
They'll
tools,
build
literally.
buildings and societies and stuff like that, and in order to gain back what they spend, they'll give people jobs and give you the money that they make in order to grow assets and make it fundable and use it and stuff like that. So they let you use when they create buildings and towns and stuff. They let you live in the cities they create from their minds.
Yeah. So how did the money came into effect? Because there was a time where you ain't had this. People use with this, people would do something that they would think is morally against their own will, or think that you get what I'm saying. The people like, I would never do this, and then you put out, some of this. Why is it that who create like? Did they know that this would be like the aftermath of creating money?
Yeah, all this is predated. Like I said, if people read all the religions and spirituality, they actually tell you things and it actually coming firsthand from knowledge, and you experience life travel and do stuff like that and live within these things for nature. Like not become a part of it. They'll actually let you learn and study. Some of this you might have to pay for. Some of this shit can almost get you killed. But if you learn to like learn and study it and live it and experience it, they'll tell you now it's like, yeah, like this is part of the evil scheme and it was made to be like this. It's all part of the actual part of being here. It's a balance to see if this planet can be taken over from the original people that are already here. That's all that's going on. The planet's dying. That's like people need to understand that. They keep saying it's because it's global warming and we need to control outer space. How are you going to control a creation that was made by a being who created you, or unless you're a part of the other beings who are just trying to destroy the planet and keep feeding people propaganda and solutions that won't work.
So when you saying with the rock, we get with the Rothschild and all that, right? But what about the Japan currency, the British pound, and all that? The whole world, other currencies, who they part of that too, or is that created on their own?
Yeah, that's what people would call the evil Illuminati. Illuminati is not all bad; it just means enlightened one. They also have positive Illuminati who are doing their best to stop those people. And this is where you break down the beings of creation. That's where they have the Greys and Reptilians who are working for those who consider the Illuminati of celebrities and people of Hollywood and stuff like that. And then you have us, the people who are getting banished the most, because in order for us to become a power, we need a solidarity and collective of high energy in order to reconnect to where we actually, stand and where we need to be. It's not going to be given to you. They're looking for a physical payment. You're a natural spiritual beings. Everybody keeps saying, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I come from the natural elders of spiritual beings. Well, they're showing you that, all right, money is fake and we're running a scam on you. Let's see what your mentality has. Let's see you create. Let's see what you can do. We're not giving you money to do this. You are those beings. We keep telling you you come from slaves and you're the creation of God and such and such. Let's see what you got. And they don't get it. They just keep taking the handout.
So let's say if it was a brother like we're gonna use people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Let's say if it was a brother that had wit, would that still matter? You know what I'm saying? Like when we're not talking about them getting money. We're talking about them creating assets and going beyond the capacity of what they think that we will not be able to achieve. You know what I'm saying? So what happens if a brother would
Yeah.
achieve the same thing Elon Musk did, but way more? How would that be a threat towards them who control this, or what do you think?
If they didn't have no parts of it and he was creating a currency and changing like cities like Nip Hustle did, like that's why Jay-Z made that freestyle. It's like gentrify your own hood before them people do it, claim eminent domain and have your people move in. What Nip Hustle did was bought that whole area. He claimed eminent domain. That means he could have made his own government with inside that block, which they had no control of. And it was part of one of the it was a part of one of the railways or two of the railways they wanted to build in the area, which was over a few hundred million. So they will have to pay him whatever he wanted to just to get that attachment back. That's why they can't buy that block or nothing like that still. So if a person was to get money and do stuff like that, yeah, he'll be a threat. But if he was to play along like Puff Daddy and all them are doing, and they get on TV and act like they, oh, we got the slave masters ain't they trying to control shit. We got to help our people and talk fancy. Yeah, you can have some of those turn out like that.
So, for instance, what about there's many people and brothers and sisters of ours that we don't even know exist, but they're doing outstanding stuff. Like they're doing like you get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
what about them?
you talking about they're good. Some of those people who are doing like outstanding and achieving in a state that seems unworldly at the moment, they're understanding that at the same time they're taking care of enough people, and when I get to another certain level, I'll take care of more people. But in between those dates and those times, they gotta they have to teach the people that they're helping that you have to help me make businesses that are grow so we can help those other people, so it won't take me as much longer. That's why all those people who like Pooh Shiesty, who will give people chances around them like that, that's why they do it like that. But in the meantime, they need people to like. I don't care if you gotta get a job, nigga. That's why they say that to them. Like, nigga, I don't care if you gotta get a job. If you can help me add to what I can give you, or if you can keep a steady check going towards it, I'll give you the majority of it. But I can't just keep giving it to you. That's gonna break me down to a point to where I can't feed anybody and we can't spread anywhere.
Yeah, that's a mindset that he's right. You can't like keep killing the cash cow. You can't. You just gotta create more cash cows. You know what I'm saying? Do your part and keep it moving. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's not like you just keeping it moving like I can't, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to help. But everybody need to see that if you have the same abilities or if you had that one person in the area who is a thinker and you move in another way, y'all need to learn how to accept each other's abilities. Everybody's not a person who can help everybody learn to lead. They think being like this is easy, having a high intuitive nature. No, you automatically understand everybody else comes first, especially if you have children. To work doesn't mean to work to gain a bunch of money. It means to work to put your people in the way to where everything is full enough to where you can live in a lifestyle to actually grow a certain amount of wealth. It's not to become rich. You always don't have to take the angry route. You always got to be the balanced person. You don't have time for that bullshit. You don't have time for excuses. You got to keep everybody on their toes, no matter how much you give. You can't. And the one thing you don't expect as a natural leader is motherfuckers to do what you would do for them. If you can't get that pack down, then you might want to let that person who can lead y'all and organize y'all to help you with your potentials and strengths, and y'all bring money together. Everybody's trying to be a chief and don't want to be a warrior and or somebody else or a gatherer or some shit like that.
Do you think that has to do with the psychological warfare that's been, you know, brainwashing our ancestors years ago? You know what I'm saying? Like the aftermath of it.
Nah, they was too strong to say that the outcome came like this. I think that this is where they get mad when they say this is where you need to be accountable. You notice the change in your music. You know, and you've been told that you was under war. Now, if you start letting shit start slipping and you continue to let it happen, you can't fault no one for keep doing running game on you. That's like old dirty bastard said, shame on the nigga who try to run game on the nigga. Like they got the picture. Like at the end of the day, they was feeding you information, especially in the '90s. Like that's when the music was the most richest, and then it started to fade into the 2000s and stuff like that. And they didn't notice they had slipped out from under their feet. They just started going with the flow of the beat. They was used to the ill beats of the '90s, so they was like, all right, let's find a way to incorporate these tones with these flows that we're going to start introducing, or a group of people we're going to start let introduce this type of genre of music, and it just slipped right off from under. Now everybody's just like a slick V. They don't care to hear no lyrics. If they hear some lyrics, they're gonna feel dumb and they're gonna turn that shit off. But if they hear somebody tell them how to set themselves up or end up in a quick position to where they can seem hot and heavy, then they're gonna be cool with it. But I don't get that concept. I've been through those stages before, but I was not that person who would be like that. I don't want to be noticed. I don't want to be hot. But if I was around people who were hot, I would automatically spiritually disconnect myself from the energy. I still fuck with the people, but I already have my routes out. If this person get caught with this or some shit happen like that, it's all for me. I'm not a part of this group anymore. You came with that shit, you leave with that shit.
Okay, that's strong right there. That's powerful. people gotta say about that. It's a must. It's, you gotta put some effort behind it too. And I have. Do you believe that? Well, I believe from nutrition and what we eat, that's actually helping out with being unorganized and not, changing our ways. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it plays a part. I would tell people that you're not gonna be able to eat all the good foods because they pricey, but eat more healthy foods than you do the foods you like to junk on. That's how you can balance that out. I'm not gonna say I'm better than anybody. Let me make that clear. I'm far from better. I'm just inclined differently. That's my only gift. That's it. But at the end of the day, you have to eat more better than you want to junk. Exercise a little bit more. I don't care if it's 15 minutes one day, if that's how you want to start out. Make it another 15 the next day, and then just up it from there. Everybody has different levels. It doesn't matter which level everybody's on. Everybody needs to understand you're not going to connect with everybody on your level. Neither are the people on the levels you consider upper. Everybody connects with somebody on a different level in order to form an actual group or a team. That's how it goes.
That's true. So it's like you keeping people to always want to change. And I believe in, as a society within our people, we have difficulties on being persistent with something. It's like we see something, we want to do it, and then after a couple of weeks, it's like, oh, forget that. So we got to
It's
strengthen
not an
that.
issue. It's not an issue. If you ask them to go do some shit that they see somebody else do, or some shit that'll make their flesh hot, or some shit of the flesh, they'll go do it real quickly. Tell them to go get some money by robbing or doing some shit like that. Tell them to be black or a nigga. That because those two concepts have nothing good attached to them. I don't care what anybody say. I want right now. I'll give anybody 10 minutes to plug in and say if there's anything that comes from good from being black or claiming black or a nigga. Because anytime any person goes anywhere that's in the hood, they be like, "How many niggas over there?" And you automatically know what that means. So don't be accountable for that shit. Ain't nothing good with being a nigga. I'm not gonna say that shit. I asked that shit, and I grew up in places like that. I'll be around niggas who are like not actually niggas. They just play that role. And then somebody will be like, "We having a party in such and such in the part of the city. How many niggas gonna be over there? Are those niggas gonna be there?" Because if we know two type of niggas gonna be there and they don't have an orderly thinking fashion, it's automatically something gonna happen. I need to scenario all the chances before I even decide going somewhere where a bunch of niggas gonna be at. And you can call me scary, but at the end of the day, what you gonna call that person who gets shot randomly just for being somewhere trying to have a good time? It's not like it used to be anymore. We used to actually have a bunch of places where we would have house parties and there would be no shooting. Even if a fight broke out, you would break that shit up and things would keep going. It's not like that anymore. I don't want to say fragile egos. I don't want to say none of that. I don't want to disrespect anybody, to be honest with you. I just want to muralist and be balanced with people. But at the end of the day, things have changed and shit's getting whacked. Niggas, like you would say, niggas always fucking shit up. And people be like, "Oh, I'm not that type of nigga." There is no such thing as two different type of niggas. Even when you rap in that song and you say I hate niggas, if you a nigga, you hate yourself. Like it is what it is. You can't say that. Like if anybody can give me the description of two different type of niggas or the alchemy of how two different type of niggas exist or how that's even real, I'll respect it. I will all day.
Yeah, I be hearing those sayings. They be like, man, we can't take niggas nowhere. Or, stuff like that. And people just. So it's like a mindset, most of all. And like a nap and a nan.
And that's a whole character. Most people don't understand blackface is what introduced the black person or the scary black person that white people are scared of nowadays. No slave or nothing did that. They was being beaten and chained. So when they created blackface, that's what they was doing all the scary acts towards white people in the film and then the acting out and the improvs and stuff. And then they would have the other black people or black faces or people that were actually considered black or colored at the time act out as dumb, couldn't read or sambos or something like that. So they actually created black people. Most people don't want to catch on to that. There was no such thing as a black person before that shit started happening.
So
That's
I got to
what
do my
gave the leeway
research.
to the
Right. I
my
have to do
fault.
my
Go ahead.
research on that.
Yeah, the minstrel shows what gave way. And if anybody can give me any knowledge right now, predating being called black before that, the minstrel show, which was in the slavery era and stuff like that, I'll sit here and let you be correct as well. Minstrel shows gave way to what we consider. They explain this in the documentary of what the minstrel show was. it gave way to what the black person was. It gave depictions. It gave the idea from another person's mind of how they saw the black person. So in order for you to see this person this way, you're creating a character. They are your black person. When the people who created the word black from you for you started telling you how they see you, this is how they did it. And you still act that same way today. And you like, man, we just like to dance and have fun, man. It's not just about that. You good with that. You good. But you're getting paid to do what they were doing already.
Like Black Youngster and Bobby Schmurder. I keep
Yeah,
telling y'all about that.
it'll be different if these people were like hosting their own YouTubes and stuff like that and had the money sent straight to their Cash App owning themselves. That's different. Those are African men who doing those things and stuff like that. But if you setting people up for some shit that you notice down here with some Jewish people who consider themselves, no disrespect to the Jewish community, but people who took something called hip hop and made an industry out of it under the government called rap, those are two different things, and started demolishing something from a creation. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to pick and choose a side.
So it's that's why every time I actually be saying this, but when I see people favorite rappers dancing on a table in front of corporate people, in my head I'd be like, they thinking, oh, dance for this money, boy, dance for me. You look good dancing. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Those types of stuff in their head, and that's pretty much what it is. You know, it's just entertainment, like entertain me, boy. You know, that's I'm not with that shit. So that's why I
man.
would
Ayo
just
so intuitive. Ayo is so intuitive. I didn't mean to cut y'all. You just reminded me of something that Ayo did. Ayo is so intuitive. Sometimes I don't think he notices because when he was like, look, in this room, because he had an example of that video, he was like, look, this person back here probably a psychologist, probably a doc. He's right. He's fucking right. Most people think that these people who are under record labels went to school for business. No, most of these people are psychologists, psychotherapists. Being in a record label is nothing but managing a person's character or building a character for a person to be managed. That's all you're doing. In order to build a character or alter ego, you need a psychologist. You need somebody to study the person's first nature, their under nature, and they already know your heritage. They can know if you're from West Africa, this, or that. Like, there you go.
I'm not even gonna play the audio. I'm just gonna show y'all how this dude really be wild and like, hold on, let me go to the part. This is where, so this is what I'm talking about when they're like, oh yeah, it's
And
like
some people
he's
actually
good,
jumped. They
you
were
know.
scared.
That's crazy, man. They actually jump.
Yeah, if
You got
you
some
if you
people
could
that
blow
be
the
like,
video up, some of them people in there they actually jump when he do certain shit.
dance for this, dance for this money, boy. Go ahead and dance. You look good dancing. You know that type of damn old freaking Jim Crow damn talking shit. Like, look at this. This shit was a disappointment. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. But you know, this is what people, you know, want to be, want to do. Oh, that's right there, neurologists and psychologists. Yeah, in the back, like you right. Leo was intuitive with that shit. Like he was putting this.
Bro, I'm about to read something. I'm about to read something to you. Leave this up.
All right, go
They've
ahead.
been studying you so long. This is all they do is study your psyche. I'm about to read y'all something. PhD Robinson from his analyst. This is the guy from Robinson, the psychologist who studied like an indigenous culture. PhD Robinson's from his analyst. These four groups may compromise different subcultures of Aboriginal culture. In 2011, Torres goes well beyond Robinson's four groups to suggest 40 million ways to be Aboriginal. 40 we have 40 million ways just to be us, period. And you're locked in two that are not even originally you or you, period, at all. You have 400 million styles to choose from. No, 40 million styles to choose from. My fault. 40 million styles to choose from. And they're studying you. They're trying to learn you so badly. And it's not a bad thing. This is part of the game. They're just on an intellectual level. This is all this is. It's just based on intellect. It doesn't make it bad. Racism is nothing but intellectual cowardism. Most of them are not even a grand portion are racist. The other ones are just it's part of their genes. It's just what they do. They've learned the game. And you have your people who are considered white, who they would consider soldiers or just as family members as well. Yes, they look down on them. Some of them do. I'm not going to say that they don't. That is true. but they also get the game. That's why when y'all wanted to defund the police, I'm not gonna say y'all like I'm talking to you, but when they wanted to defund the police and them rednecks and them Klan members was ready, they understand what Western European indoctrination is. It was about to be free game on y'all ass if the police was dropped, and they know that. There's no order. It's back to natural order then. So they could have did what they wanted to.
And it's up there, y'all. It'll be up there.
Yeah, they practice shooting like it's nothing. We don't practice that. Only time we practice shooting is at each other sometimes. And I'm not saying this to sound like I fuck with like Trump supporters. Like I don't care about none of that shit. All that shit is man made. I just need to know it and live it in order to stay the fuck out the way. I don't need to be in the way. I need to enjoy the things that they create while also making another way and just get over the obstacles that I'm naturally gonna have. What's the use of doing all the extra stuff?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, just to stay out the way. You're right. But some
Everybody has
people
room to
like,
be a
I
legend.
think,
No, go ahead, my fault.
no, you're right. Everybody want to be a legend. I think I'm the flesh. People are more in tune with their flesh. They, you know what I'm saying? Instead, they like,
Nah, I said that
spirituality.
everybody has room to be a legend. Everybody has room to be a legend. Everybody doesn't have room to be famous. If everybody wants to be a legend, you need to sit down and learn what your gift is. It's a lot of readers, it's a lot of mathematicians, it's a lot of chemists. Like, how are you going to show people that you have the DNA of the originals if you won't let it activate? Your melanin is good, but in order for you to really get its use, it's the computer. That's why you go good with the elements of the like nature and stuff like that. You're indigenous to this planet. That's called your body reading the codes around you. Everything is an energy. Everything is a code. Everything has a code to it. It's an energy. So if your DNA is able to adapt to everything around you, it is a computer. That's what melanin does. It soaks up DNA and reads the sun. It's a computer. It's computing one cell to another, energy to another. My molecules get this from the sun. It is telling them it's time to warm up. It's time to soak up. It's time to power up. Your body gets water. It's another part of your element. It tells your body to hydrate. I got this. The cells talk to each other. They're all talking. And I don't think people grasp the concept. They're like, well, they don't have lips and shit. Quit being a goofball for once and be a mature intellectual. Cells do talk, but you don't understand the language. Just like an atom is 99.99% nothing. Technically, we're not here right now. And you think this shit exists. Nope, this is just a temporary life. The life you're going to have to actually live leads from here. So while you're here, you're supposed to be getting ready to be okay to go back there, but you might have children here. So if you do, your purpose has just changed. It's just at the end of the day, you need to sit down and take it more seriously. It's like what you do here, you're going to answer for on the other side. So you're preparing to live your actual life here. That's what you're doing now.
And this kind of what you explained. It reminded me of this book. I didn't fully read, but it was called Psycho Cybernetics. And then I remember this guy who created the first machine learning, supposedly Alan Turing, I think. And they were
Hmm.
talking about how life is like a computer, like computing stuff with the cells and the patterns and stuff. It kind of
Yeah,
aligned to what you were saying. So is that the word that I could use for it? Psycho cybernetics.
yeah. It's a fact though. Trees breathe, so they technically alive. Grass grows, and when you cut it, the pheromone you get from it is knowing it's being cut. The sun has its own rotation, and that's the energy. Energy is the essence. It's just called gravity, force, and pull. Somebody else has got to name it first. But if you go to another country in another language, they don't call it the same thing because that's what they named it in their language and their tongue and stuff as well. So right now you're just in a body just like technically you're made of your mother, which everybody comes from Africa, so your dirt is from the flesh. You have a spirit that's from the father. We just have two genders. That's it. They made children. And at the end of the day, the whole name of the ball game is to be intellectually inclined. Like they give each person a piece of their puzzle or a piece of their intellect, and you do what you do from there. You got the computer. Now you need to learn to use it your own way, and you're not going to be able to compute it throwing distractions to something that doesn't compute in that form. It doesn't understand it. So you're making your mind out of whack. You can get involved with these distractions all day and say, I'm getting a bad because I'm going to Miami. I'm getting a bad because I got a big house, but you still don't feel right for some reason spiritually is because you're not clicked on that purpose, and it's just gonna keep haunting you. It's gonna do that, and you're gonna try to find ways to justify it. That's all you're gonna do.
And that's what people use, like drugs or other distractions to cope with it, because that emptiness still.
Man, not even that. There's a lot of ways people cope with it. The first one is just being presented as drugs. Most people don't know that getting money is a bad way because it's all flesh. You have to think of things of the flesh like nature. People be like, no, I got a job. Well, your job is putting you in the position to not do what you actually get to that because at the end of the day, you don't know that job is, if you're intelligent, if you use your intelligence, it's made for you to know how to use that money to fund for yourself. The whole part of this game is to learn how to change things. But in order for it to change, you got in order to grow. You have to spread. You can't spread if you're under somebody else's thumb, keeping them rich, and they have you on their schedule. It's not gonna happen. That one check is not gonna get you there. Shit, two people together is only gonna get it there fluidly if you don't have passive income, and that's a whole nother nature.
So we have to overcome this type of flesh, our flesh being worked to the bone. We have to overcome it with, us getting out of these. A job is like taking over the time, and it's putting the labor, and it's helping somebody else grow, but it's not helping us grow. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but if people want to be like, I want it, I want it. So at the end of the day, are you gonna think outside that? Are you gonna throw the box away that they shaped you and gave you since you was a child and think outside your brain or use your lobes? It'd be like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, don't put as much energy as it's something that's gonna make somebody else. Which let's get this job done. When I get off, let's organize and discipline. If I have children, I didn't get off to where they're sitting down learning as well, or if they're young, they're playing and they're, they're in order. And I need to sit down and learn what I need to learn in order to influence my life to go the right way. Or and if you don't have children, in order to influence your life so you can actually live this life. Money is a tool. You just need to know how to use it. That's it. I know people have their things that they want to buy. I'm not saying don't buy it, but I'm telling you to get the full grasp of life, you need to learn how to use the tools and the alchemy around you. Like most people want to go overseas. Most people put hold on the club. Let the people around you stay lost in the matrix for a minute while you take a step back and you do your thing. But you can go visit them and notice the difference. Apply that wisdom. Learn a bunch of wisdom and then go apply it and see how it makes you feel by standing out, looking in, and then going to visit in and seeing how you stand out automatically.
So it's like, it's crazy how a job, especially if you don't like the job and it's not helping act it yourself, it could like lead to people having a family and a debt, or having to wait till they had that 2 weeks vacation to do stuff, not able to, learn new things because they got to be at this job at this time. That's what you trying to talk
Yeah, and the thing that I would tell people in order how to beat that feeling, think about it. I'm doing something that I don't want to, so I must have the strength to do what I need. I mean, to do what I want to. So let me look at this as God giving me applying pressure to me to tell me that I have something better to do instead of being here. So if they wake up with that type of mind frame, like I'm not here for life, I can go home and get this right, things will be fine. But they can't think that they're going to just jump to a high level. No, take time to, as you learn the difference in how things are changing for you mentally, and your perspective on life is changing as well. Because as you learn deeper and know yourself and get in the ways that you didn't think you have, most of you, man, a lot of you are intelligent. I don't know how many people watching don't care, but a lot of you are intelligent. You just need to use it. You're afraid that you're gonna miss something. What you're really missing is what you're searching for amongst a group of people who are not looking for it. So in order for you to stop that crowd for being so large, draw back, keep drawing back. And the more you keep seeing change and the more you keep seeing that group get smaller and smaller and complaining, you'll be like, shit, racism do exist. But at the same time, it's at a point to where my elders put me in an advantage to where I can actually make a change. It doesn't matter if you fuck with politics. I don't, because that's just you running a re-race of repeating history when you have a third party seat that you can take advantage of. I see it as you start learning who you are while learning the indoctrination is just like, all right, I'm a part of this society, but I'm not a part of its culture, which is the American way. Once you learn to start respecting people and how they feel about you, because they're like, you're a nigger, you're this, or you're black, you're that, be like, no, correct them, like, no, I'm not black, I'm African, or then say whatever tribe you picked and start to learn. And things will start to change for you. You'll have more of an honor, you'll feel more better about yourself. And they're like, oh, because most people already know. Like most of these white people already know. All you got to do is let them know, like, no, I'm not black. And by the way you've learned your knowledge and by the way you sit and deeply got to know yourself, they'll know if you really know yourself or not because they won't try to correct you.
Powerful. That's very powerful right there. Like, are you saying like, yeah, you part, like you know what it is, but you just work your way to like, separate yourself. Like you in the matrix and you know you're in the matrix, so you slowly about to detach from it. But you know you gotta go through you know, the way of it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's for anybody. Like
Everybody.
it's not gonna be that everybody signed up for it. Well, everybody was brought in this game when your parents signed you up for it. The best part about that is don't regret things that you have to go through in order to get to where you're going. Just make sure you don't make fucked up choices just to get somewhere fast. You don't answering to those to the person you got to answer to who gave you the breath of the spirit. It's gonna be hell on you. You don't want that. So also remember that. Always remember that. Don't make fucked up choices just to get somewhere fast because answering for that shit is gonna be, yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Hill. Black Wall Street. Tore it apart, but it's that was off of envy and that was off of not letting us do our thing. It was not only Black Wall Street. It was many other places too. But we still here. We gotta be resilient.
That's a fact.
Damn, Ty. I mean, you see that?
Yeah, MLK, you right. Anybody who, to me, anybody who works with the government is an agent. The Black Panthers fell apart because somebody wanted to go and extend themselves with the government hard. Black Panthers, what they did was make sure what they was doing and what they was building was protected and respected. It wasn't trying to be controlled by some fascists or some exploiting government. Most people don't know how to read, and I'm not going to say that like they don't know how to read the letters, but they just don't know how to read, like get grasp the knowledge. Like when they read the words, they don't know how to read the details or see in between the lines and get the meaning and the feeling. Because a lot of people say they third eye open. If your third eye open, when you feel that, you wouldn't be thinking of going to war. Nobody would be thinking of shooting nothing up right now if they was really feeling where these people were coming from. They would see how intellectual these people was, and when it was time to get ready, they had people who were built for that do their purpose. So they wasn't losing people or trying to fight and get their people killed. It was at the end of the day they had it down packed. They was disciplined. They had it in order.
I would say there's one thing on MLK last days. He did been going against what he was preaching throughout his whole journey. He had kind of got that little aggressiveness, and he was, what I'm saying, like he done flipped the switch. What do you guys say about?
To me, when I was growing up, like I read deeper on MLK. If people was to look at those marches, um, I forgot what year it was. We'll talk about it some other times. Most of those people didn't even call themselves black, and on top of that, they damn sure didn't want you to call yourself a nigga. So how will people be like, I'm repping my ancestors, I'm repping my elders, I'm a proud nigga? Like that's a double, that's a contradictory. Like you just made that whole sentence collapse on itself because they're the one who told you not to call yourself nigga. Matter of fact, you shouldn't like Harriet Tubman because at the end of the day, she said that's why she left some slaves behind because them niggas didn't know that they weren't slaves. So at the end of the day, if she can leave people behind and you can be proud of her, how come you can't leave them niggas with your slaves still behind and keep doing the thing to go forward? Like I don't see how y'all don't read those. I don't get how people don't grasp that concept. This woman actually left people because of the mind frame, and she was like, "Fuck it, if they're not gonna get it, they're not gonna get it." But people are proud of her though. They didn't say that she did our people wrong. They don't say none of that about none of those people.
They actually want her on a $20 bill. But let me tell you this: I think it has something to do with cross information because we got the Photoshop. I remember when MLK and all that was going on. They done Photoshop him with a gold chain and a grill, sticking his
Yeah,
middle finger up. So it's like our society is putting a spin on that history. You know what I'm saying? It's like a cognitive dissonance. It's like, okay, MLK was really trying to act like this, and Harriet Tubman was really trying to act like that, which was, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. But that's what it's up to you. That's part of their game. If they're in control of the narrative and the narrative is to stay in control and it's all intellectual, it takes $0 to do what they're doing right now. It just takes the mentality to know what actually rules mentality, which is order of a high discipline with a culture narrative behind it. So it takes zero to do what they done. If y'all actually think about it and read the history, it took $0. Only thing that took money to do was to build the ships and stuff or however they got over here. But to come up with what's going on now, it took $0. And
Hold
most
on.
people don't get it. These people want handouts, and no, it doesn't take a handout. They did this with $0.
I'm trying to figure out what she said. I don't know if that was a joke about Harriet
You see,
Tubman getting
Harriet Tubman
commission.
was getting commission.
I think that was a joke right there. That's a troll.
They
But
was.
people talk about Malcolm X, but have you heard about what Charleston White said about Malcolm X? I
Nah,
mean,
what do you say?
I've read Malcolm X biography. That's he is a true leader. Like he did his thing. But this is where you gotta, what you were saying earlier. People gotta know what other people's agendas is. It was a time where Malcolm was bringing in all the people within the Nation of Islam, and the brothers. He was doing all the footwork, but his brothers had houses paid for, and they having drive fancy cars. But Malcolm still had a mortgage on the house with like two or three kids, and had a car, old school car driving. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I
they
heard that, and I actually read that as well. Like
yeah, go
most
ahead.
people said that. Go ahead, my fault. I did cut you off. I'm rude about that, bro. I'm
No,
sorry.
I want you to piggyback off it. Go ahead. You say you heard people what?
I've read that, and I've heard people say that the Muslims killed them. See, to me, I respect the Muslims. I don't got nothing against them. I actually read that whole thing, and like, I think I have some of their beliefs because of how I am naturally. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I've heard that they set him up to be killed because he was explaining to people not to actually hate, but you are at war with another set of people who are not like you. And at the end of the day, you need to be ready for anything. But first, you need to be ready intellectually. Second, you need to be ready at arms. But like you said, the way that they put it out, they made it put it out like you need to be ready at arms with no brain.
So, with Malcolm X, that's like what he was saying. Like he was really bringing in people, but it was an interview on Say Cheese. No, I think Malcolm, Charleston White said on his own channel. He said that he was mad that Malcolm X had been so influential and he had been, saving our people, but he had got, Mac Daddy by Father Elijah Muhammad, if I'm pronouncing his name right. He was saying
Yeah,
that a light skinned nigga had put the Mac Daddy on him and all that, trying to say some shock value stuff. But I
yeah.
kind of think of it like it's partially kind of true about how he did have respect for Elijah, but had looked past what he was doing, to them girls and
Yeah,
all that. But he actually overcame it. You kind of get what I'm saying? I'm treading lightly on what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to fully agree with Charles White being that disrespectful. No, it was
yeah.
some type of misinterpretation he had on him.
I've heard that. What I would say about that is when it comes to power, the people like Malcolm, who was like basically a muralist, he was trying to get the picture done. He was trying to get painters to paint and see the outcome. I guess he let it go if he actually was seeing stuff like that because he was like, all right, I'm about to detach myself anyway because it's a lot of inside stuff people don't know that's going on that separating me from the group anyway because they were supposed to be part of the people who killed him. So I think he was thinking in those type of natures already. So he was like, all right, as long as I don't got no hand in it and I'm playing my part, let them go down by themselves. I feel like something funny's gonna happen anyway.
So that is true. I do agree with you, Camp God, but you gotta understand that I agree with you, but you gotta understand that there's some people that's in this world that are very, very good at pointing out other people's faults, or you get what I'm saying? Somebody could tell somebody else how to clean a room, but they don't know how to clean a room. But it's a skill that you get what I'm
Right.
saying? They could sweep somebody else's porch but don't sweep theirs. So you right, Camp God, but Charleston White do kind of have some type of intuitive on, not with the disrespect, but on like looking at something and analyzing it and be like, oh, this. Even though it may be harsh, but I kind of look at how he looks at it, and I'm like, I can see why you think that. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shit, Charleston White, all I can say is he's giving his point of view. Like, I don't know what his experience is to let him to feel like that, but from what I can see and what I've heard of him already, his life and his view on how he see people, how Malcolm talk about him changed when he started coming up. Now, if he was still stuck in a situation to where he was doing what he said before, I don't think he would have the same mind frame. But the fact that he's got like out of that, he can get out of that area completely now, like he says. he doesn't have a reason. But I think he did say one time, if I still had to be around there, I would be here talking to you right now because it'd be hypocrisy. Like it would, I'd be contradicting.
He did said about he has said something recently that Bosco 100 got mad. He talked about gangs don't do nothing to the community. They be detrimental to the community. About gangs don't do shit for the community. They was originally created to protect the community. And Bosco was calling him a bum ass country boy or something like that. What do you think about that? Because he was in the game. Charleston White was a crip before. But
You
what do you think?
shit, I think it's the truth. My experiences with being active and stuff like that, I was the only one out of a handful who actually went to college. So when you go to college, you can meet homies who really active from other sets. Y'all don't beef and shit like that because it was like a bigger homie who has some intellect who would encourage you not to be like the rough heads. So he's not lying, but it's like it's too many rough heads for those people to be like, y'all need to chill out because the name of the game is down. The roughhead get out of order like that, we can kill him and take his position, or we don't care anyway. So I think that the older homies found a wiser way to spot out the ones who can help out actually and just push them forward. They would make them the I would call those the ones that are the leaders who can send the little homies to do stupid shit basically.
I appreciate that for that 5 donation, Negro. He the one who had put me on with that EDP 445. I give you a shout out in that video. So respect to you, Negro. But yeah, like what you were saying, you're right. I mean, yeah, but it's like I think the way that he come out and he say things, it kind of upset people. But I don't agree with everything he say. I ain't gonna lie. I know sometimes he be bullshitting, but I'm more of like judging the message than the messenger. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. But all I can say is when it comes to people who want to try to lead, the best way I know somebody leading accordingly is how much balance and how much logic and facts they put behind it. I can't rock with nobody who will be like, well, it's okay for you to listen to people who gonna take you down the wrong way. No, you need to let them know, like, all right, I know these people personally. When they spit you this stuff, they're actually telling you when they say not to copy me, don't copy me. They're just listen and find out how to get out of the shit that you're in. They're not doing that. They're just on camera trying to get up somewhere into like a visible point of view to where they can gain some money off of it. Nobody's actually helping each other. They've been like, well, I had to pay for the game, so you're gonna have to pay for it. All right, to me, if we're supposed to be multiplying and iron sharpening, I'm paying to sharpen my iron when it's naturally ordered under our creation to be sharp and iron together naturally. All right, I'll support you, but at the end of the day, where it gets to a point to where you want to see me as an equal, we're not equal no more. Period. At all.
Damn. You, I mean, I think now with social media, with leaders, or you got people who it's so easy to talk about problems and talk about what's wrong than doing it. You get what I'm saying? It's the first time I met you and the other Bobby. Y'all were talking about the problems, but y'all actually doing it. Y'all had proof. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that being said, what do you think about Dr. Umar Johnson?
To me, those guys are they're funny. All these people who out here saying that I'm for the black people, I'm for this. No, you're for the black business of getting your money out of people who you can influence. When somebody starts actually going into neighborhoods and creating actual order and understanding if they want their neighborhoods to expand and be suburban like the other ones, they have to turn those projects back into beautiful high rises. And I don't say beautiful as in the building need to be magnificent. I mean you actually turn it into a community like you've read it used to be. You will have more playgrounds than other communities or other cultures, actual cultures around you, because you have the most turf. They with the statistics they give you, that's European indoctrination. If you was already here on this planet, you can't make up 30% in like in America. You can't. That's impossible. How are you indigenous to this planet? You was already multiple before people started doing other shit, but you're only 13% here. No matter how much genocide, you can't kill off that many people in order to create that kind of ratio. And now, if you're doing a racial draft under their analysts, yeah, we it would be considered a 13% here because there are other people who look like you who has a nationality who don't have to classify as that.
Tight bars. We're gonna backpedal off that to what he said about Elijah Muhammad, and I would say that you're right. He did, you know, build it from the ground up, and I give him his credit for that. But people have their own agendas. This is what he's talking about. You saying like people are not for the black people; they're for the black business. You saying?
I'll say people are not for actually seeing an equal balance of what they consider black wealth. I don't take nothing from people who built stuff from the ground up. I take it from them from the aspect of they're always saying they're doing something, but there's actually nothing done yet. Like they say, we want the hoods better. Y'all got to quit shooting. Where all these gangsters and generals that who say they can put order in within sets when they show their face on the street. I want that's the type of actual power I want to see. If you can make it stop, go make that shit stop. Like you, like these big generals and songs and stuff like this. Like, oh, I run the block and hood. Well, go put some end to that shit if you really do. Start telling them how to become intellectual. Start making them throw hands in front of you. If you own the block, like you say, let's turn it back. Because the people who actually had bread like that was making sure the shit that they was investing in was actually coming back to them. And if you were stepping out of line, that's when they stepped out of line on your ass.
And we gotta stop with this cognitive dissonance on owning blocks. If it ain't on papers, we don't own the block. So it's easy for the person who really owns the block to get one of our people to misjudge it that they own the block. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because you run terror or you run some type of business, that's not your block though. You get what I'm saying? Like you ain't bought. We talk about
Yeah.
real estate now, but you kind of can
Which
relate.
Yeah, I'm talking about when you own the block is when you're gonna be like that's the West African community, that's the Jewish community, that's the Italian community. There's no that's the hood where the black people live at. That's nothing but political equity. You're from being black to where you're at is nothing but political equity. Because if you can move somewhere else outside the red line or I think it's inside the red line, the property value will go down just something black is on it, not a person, something black. You can drop property value. So if people don't catch on to that, then at the end of the day, I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah, I feel you, man. It's been real. It's been hella real, man. So let's see what else they got up in the
But
comments. You got one. You got
yeah,
any
a few
last
quick
things
things
before
because
we close this up? Huh?
fast, I'll say because I gotta go to work in the morning myself.
All right. So I guess any last things before you log off, buddy.
Well, basically, what I want to say is that people misunderstood me before. All I was doing was throwing you placebo effect so you could come and actually learn what I'm actually saying now or what you have heard said before earlier. I'm not better than nobody. I just have a high intuitive nature, and I can see the mural of where we should be headed as a people without any violence actually needed to be taken or any type of protest and stuff. It just takes an intellectual nature and for you to grow into an honor so you can fluidly connect as a collective. That's it. And you just need a national umbrella, a true umbrella. Now, if you can start promoting yourself as African and start this chain of stuff, and then be like, where did you get this from? And you can promote it back. Anything that you're involved in, I'll give a promotion to that as well. And as it grow and you start getting money from it, that's like us paying each other back at the end from saying thank you. But it doesn't even have to go in the money. If you want to change and you want to get out the color prism, start presenting yourself in a more intellectual, cultured, actual cultured nature. That's all.
Yeah, I hear that. That's facts right there. So y'all, I definitely gonna drop Bobby Cash link in the description if I believe I already did. And Chips got one more serious question. He said, Bobby, do you believe reptilians run the world?
Yeah, those reptilians, grays, they're releasing that information now. Go read a book called Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. He has documents in there that stated by 2020, and this is in 1991, if the government did not meet its treaty with the aliens that they're signed with, like reptilians and stuff, they would start showing themselves. And it's happening. Like this man worked in the deepest sector of the government, and what he was given was so true. In the beginning of his book, it says, "My family or anybody I love or related to has nothing to do with this. nor does the book Arthur. And it gives you everything that you wouldn't think of. The first one at the top.
Yeah, I get that. Y'all see that? Behold the pale horse. You know what I'm talking about? So
All facts, no
take that and
fiction.
cop that. Yeah. Oh man, a lot of shit said. Like I said, for blacks to come out this trans and progress, we have to focus on us and only us. Bill predicted 9/11 and killed them. Dang. So we're gonna say that for next time, y'all. You know, we're gonna go ahead and go on with our lives, but we appreciate y'all for stopping by. Please hit that
That
like button. I'm gonna drop Bobby Cash YouTube channel in the description. Definitely check them out and subscribe. We're gonna be doing this weekly. So till next time, I got
And I appreciate it, Grump. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to be appreciative. I appreciate it. And everybody, I will be doing videos from time to time until I can go actually live. Give big ups to Grump because he allows me to be on here just like Ayo allowed me to be on here and Bobby. So it wouldn't be possible, even though I have the knowledge and the wisdom to do this without these people. So I appreciate this man right here.
we greatly appreciate you, man. See you next weekend.
All right, bro.